Is Camilla worth a pickup? And let's just stop right there. Yes, she is. We'll get into it. Camilla right now, flying and staff is very, very good. The Corrins are a little bit of a different story, and it'll depend on how you want to use them. And Hinoka will be if she's your favorite. But that is how this one is going to go. This is a very good revival, though, and let's talk about how we use these different ones. Let me know in the comments, though, who are you most excited about? What are you going to be using these units for?
That's enough out of you.
So the reason I'm saying that Camilla is worth it really has nothing to do with Camilla herself. This weapon is very, very dated. We can go over it. This is start of turn, inflicts defense res -7 on foes within 3 rows and 3 columns. And the combat effects are foe cannot counterattack. You get attack speed +10 total. And after combat, inflicts gravity on target and foes within 1 space. It's a little bit sleepy. Let's just jump right into the builds. And there are really 2 staves you're looking for. If you are not a die-hard Camilla fan, Bouquet Baton is probably the way you're going to go. And just for those of you who don't know, and this is grants attack speed +5 and neutralizes penalties on ally during combat. And that's for any ally within 3 rows, 3 columns. That alone, the supportive nature of that is very, very good. And it's going to play into what staves like to do. Let's go into the different use cases, though. I wanted to get the staff itself out of the way. So we have the support build, and this is a lot of fun. You've got attack speed mastery, you've got call to serve and speed res crux. I will say there's a little bit of overlap between call to serve and bouquet baton, just with the neutralizes bonuses. That gives you a little more freedom unless you possibly swap one of those out. I do like both of those quite a bit. Attack speed mastery, the big thing it gives you is that Canto, and Canto is very, very nice on a full supported build. Speed res crux, I've talked about it a lot because there isn't a whole lot of null follow-up in the heavy saves right now. It makes Crux very, very powerful. So that's something you want to keep a lookout for. And then I've just got Squad Ace BU on there for some extra stats. Just the fact that this has Ice Lock, and then I've given this unit Micaiah Ring. I know that also feels like there's a little bit of overlap there with the extra action, but you are cleansing penalties and providing an ice buffer. Those are very, very powerful combined together. So you're disabling penalties and you are not letting the opponent have bonuses. Both of those are good. If you're looking at the nuke build, I've still got Bouquet Bouton on there. I think that's probably going to be the best one you can pick up in this batch. Then you got Ice Lock, because that's just going to be the thing you want on everyone. Holy Pressure does the most damage, which is why I picked it out. And then, so whether you get Sway, Attack Speed, or the Tidings, they don't really differ. So if you get one of them, just make sure you get the complementing staff, whichever that is, so that you have the Razzle Dazzle effect. AR Far Resound is pretty spectacular, and for those of you who don't remember, that's the Resonance plus Canto, and together those are very, very nice on a lot of different units. The Piercing plus the True Damage is great. You will lose some HP, but this isn't going to be a unit that you're going to be attacking over and over again, so for that one hit, this is going to be great. And as far as the C skill, for combat C skills, you just don't get better than Deadly Miasma right now. So I would expect that to change sometime in the future, but it is very nice to have. And then Blade Session, because it gives you the most points there. If you're going the max invest build, and this one you have to kind of go out of the box because Arcane Charmer is not available in Holoforms. You're going to have to get that on this unit separately, but it is going to be the best staff still for this unit. The amount of support and combat it gives is very good. Now, if you're asking me if it's a significant enough bump for you to get that on this unit instead of Bouquet Bouton, the answer is no, unless you're a big fan. If you're a big fan, absolutely this is the way to go. Glitter of Light, I've got it on here and I like Glitter of Light, but understand that with all of the NCD that's floating around right now, Glitter of Light has taken a huge hit in value. I still think it's one of the best specials you can get on a healer, but just know that it's not as valuable as it once was. Crystalline Water and Still Water in the Seal helps you get off Attack Res Havoc, which again, In order to get enough res on this unit, you really have to pile on the merges and the flowers. 58 is respectable though, and you can work with that. And then I've got Crux Echo. And that's, so again, I understand this is max invest. The other thing, Shadow Smite is a lot of fun. So I keep that on your list of things you might look for. It is honestly on this unit not as useful, but I mean, it's holoform, so you get what's fun. This is the last time I'll be mentioning the Summer of Chrom stuff, which I love. Go grab that while you get a chance. I did actually find a way to do free shipping, so we've got that up on the store. If you qualify, check that out. Sprinkles did an amazing job, and I just got my towel in, and I love it. But let's get back to it. Let's talk about the individual skills we've got. I've got the two main builds. I don't think a lot of you are going to be going after the max invest, but we've got the sway skills, the tiding skills in the A, the attack speed mastery, and the crystalline water. For the B, resound is probably my favorite, followed by call to serve, and then the havoc skill, because again, for the havoc skill, you really need like a max invest build. And then for C, we've got deadly miasma, the crux skill, and then that shadow smite is up there as well. For the specials, glitter of light and holy pressure, my preference would be glitter of light. I know I said it lost value, but that doesn't mean it's not valuable. And then the other two, ice lock is by far the favorite you should be getting, and then magic shield plus. Okay, so if you are looking at the absolute must-have for this unit, it's ice lock, period. If you get ice lock, this is worth a pickup. Ice lock is very rare, and it is incredibly powerful, and you can kind of mix and match with what you have in your barracks in order to get this unit moving. So just know that if you're looking at absolute priorities, ice lock first. If you don't get ice lock on this unit, it's pretty much not worth getting them. But there are few enough support skills that ice lock should be easy to get on this unit. I say should as if I haven't been the person who missed out on getting one of these units because I just, rolled poorly. But ice lock, really focusing on that one.
Don't try it. Flee!
Fallen Male Corrin is actually kind of interesting. We are coming to a point in the meta where color advantage is starting to mean something again, and that is all really hinging on boosted damage. Boost damage is becoming more and more prevalent as a way to take out people, and boost damage really gets affected by, triangle advantage. So understand that, and that's one of the big reasons that this unit is usable right now, is because of the fact that he's blue. Let's look at the weapon though. If you have 2 or less adjacent allies, you get attack speed +6, dodge, null bonuses, and then at start of combat, if foe initiates or foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75%, you get an Omni +4. You remember when 4 was a lot. And then you get true damage of 20% of speed. And if you're tired of hearing it, true damage, it's just where it's at right now. As far as combat effects, you get speed +3 and Omni plus stats depending on how many people are adjacent to you, and it's a lot. It's not a lot of stats, so just keep that in mind. But anyway, guard, you get 7 HP healing post combat, and then adaptive damage versus ranged foes. This is okay. It's that true damage that really makes this usable. I haven't put it up here, but you're probably looking at an arcane weapon if you really love this unit. Let's look at the use cases, and this Omni Tank one is the one I'm going to be centering in on because I think this is really interesting. I mean, reposition gate is just going to be the thing you want on all of these. Dragon Flame is very good. I think that is an excellent dragon special right now, and something you're going to want to be zeroing in on. We'll talk about that in a bit though. Fortifications, and you notice I've got fortifications, but I've got this unit paired with Lumera. Fortifications, when you have everything going, is just the go-to distant counter skill. And I've said it before, but the thing you have to watch out for is Camilla. And because Camilla spreads her deadly miasma all over the place, what it'll do is it'll cancel out and then you'll have nothing there. As far as the other skills, attack speed spiked wall is the new darling for all of these units. The fact that you get bulwark with that is incredibly powerful and just it is incredibly helpful because there are so many different ways that the opposing team can try to get around you. Barricade is 100% the C skill you're going to want on this unit, just period, flat out. It is very supportive to both this unit as a tank and to the team, and it helps from warp shenanigans not happening as long as the opponent isn't named Camilla. Anyway, the thing that I will point out, I do have Null Sea Disrupt there as an attune skill, and that is something you will have to get. There are way too many sweep effects. You have to have something to counter that. The nuke build is kind of interesting, and this I'm really playing off of the true damage that this unit gets in the weapon. 20% of speed is not bad at all. And you have Astra there, because that's actually going to give you more damage than any of the Dragon Flame, Dragon Roar, anything like that. You have to get it off, so you have to get the cooldown far enough, but it's still going to be a lot of fun. Slice with Sparrow is just the go-to. Edge Scales because it has Null Follow-Up, and Endless Tempest. I have Endless over Brutal because it removes bonuses. And we've talked about there are a lot of ways to remove bonuses. So if you already have that on your squad, you can go Brutal, and the Canto from that is incredibly powerful. You will absolutely need the Erica Ring because you're going to need as many hits as possible, and then attack speed finish for the extra true damage if you're going for nuking. As far as the arena build, this is something that I have been playing with most of my infantry units right now. For instance, I have Legendary Robin, the male version, in arena as one of my score bots, and giving that unit reposition gate and then the Micaiah ring absolutely changes the way that unit plays and makes him play very similarly to what we had with Duo Chrom back in the day. So if this is a score bot, 760 is kind of low depending on what tier you're shooting for, but this is definitely a possibility. The other thing is having Barricade in arena is incredibly valuable. Keep in mind, we don't really have Camilla in that mode. So most of the time you're going to be able to stop the warping from the Celica ring. That is something that is very valuable. Past that, just everything you need to score here. You need the Dragon Special, and you need Distant Counter D, and you need High Dragon Wall. That's all there is to it. I have doubled down on res, trying to bump that up. Understand that that's going to be good against any nuke, but if you have to put this unit up against something like Rhea, then that means High Dragon Wall is going to do just absolutely nothing. Now that we've gone over all of that, I want to double back to the Omni Tank build and really kind of dig into what we've got there, because this is kind of interesting. Here's the damage analysis, and for flat DR we have 27, which is respectable. That's good enough. For true damage we have 40, which is approaching good, and then for boosted damage, if you remember, that's with the Dragon Flame, and we've got 80. You have to get that off, but the combination of the true damage and the boosted damage means this unit can actually hit pretty hard. One of the big challenges with Omni Tanks is being able to kill back, because if you leave these units sitting around, bad things are going to happen. Let's look a little bit about the Sims here, and I mean, if you're just going to ignore Camilla, which admittedly is the most common nuke in the game right now, but if you just ignore her, this is really respectable. Like this is pretty decent here. The Erica matchup, again, Erica really relies heavily on boosted damage, and that's why this unit is able to succeed there. Unaka kind of surprised me. I expected her to do better, and she did not. And then you've got Lynn, and Lynn did not surprise me. Lynn struggles a bit with damage, but still, it's nice to note there. I mean, what can I say? This is a decent setup, and I am pretty happy with how this came out. If you're going to use this unit in any kind of Aether Raids, Omni-Tank role, you just have to watch out for Camilla. But I'll be honest with you, that's just everybody. One of the ways you can do that, understand that Camilla gets most of her damage off of the debuffs from the opponent. It's why she's so good against defenses and Summoner Duels teams as well, because they like to clump. And so Camilla just absolutely wipes the floor with those units. That matchup changes dramatically if Corrin is just out by his lonesome. And keep in mind, that's kind of how he would like to be anyway. If you look at the supports that are helping him out here, namely Sakura can support from across the map. You can have Lumera lay down her tiles and then, you know, scurry away. And so this unit can be all alone and really do a lot better versus Camilla. Just keep that in mind. You always want to know the tricks to get around a lot of these units. If we're looking at the different skills you have for this unit, if I'm prioritizing, and you can kind of go two ways, whether you want to make this an arena nuke or an omni tank, but keep in mind Dragon Flame is just going to be the thing you want. The other thing you want to pay real close attention to are these B skills. Attack speed, spiked wall, and edge scales are... they're really nice on this unit. So there's something you're going to watch out for. Sly Swift Sparrow is more important to the arena nuke than fortifications is to the omni tank. We talked about it, but there are some downsides to fortifications. So if you wanted to go with any kind of other DC, that's absolutely possible. And we have the attack speed solo DC, which I'm blanking on the name, but I keep that in mind as something to look out for. Understand that if you're looking for scoring, then High Dragon Wall is just a must. Barricade is probably my favorite, period, because I think you can get Endless Tempest or Brutal Tempest somewhere else. So just keep that in mind. One of the things I didn't talk with these C skills is this Pulse on Blades, which is definitely a possibility and can be a lot of fun. I would prioritize Barricade or the Tempest skills over that. That is something you can look at. And as always, you have Breath of Life, which can be very valuable. And you've also got even Res Wave D, which provides the Scowl effect, which particularly versus a particular knight that is black is very, very valuable and something that can help you a ton. So just be on the lookout for that. If you're asking what I would go for, I mean, I thought that was pretty neat that you could get this unit and make them work as an Omni tank. I would be hunting this build out, and that's what I would be leaning towards. But keep in mind, the nuke build does work. I just worry about the range. It is tough, especially since you don't have Celica ring there. You really need that Erica ring. So this is probably my preference build between all of them.
My blood boils.
It is unfortunate, but Corrin has probably aged the worst between the two fallen versions of this unit. And even when she came out, the Refine was not fantastic. Let's look at the weapon, and the problem is everything here is so conditional, and even when it is conditional, it's not great. You have an Omni +4, you have damage reduction that's pierceable, you have special piercing that is also very conditional, whereas now they just give it to you. Then you get an in-combat Omni plus X, and it's depending on how many allies are near you. You do get null penalties, and then you get adaptive damage. You notice the big thing that's missing here is true damage, and it's why, if you love this unit, you absolutely want to go with Arcane Fel Arts. I have this unit with Savage Breath. I haven't really looked at the sims past that. But it's if you love this unit, that's probably going to be the way to go there. Let's look a little bit. I've got a lot of what we just talked about, to be completely honest with you. We should probably start with the arena build, and this is just the way you build dragons right now. We talked about the benefit of Micaiah and Reposition Gate and how powerful that is. As a score bot, you can definitely get use out of this unit, but High Dragon Wall in and of itself isn't fantastic. Barricade, however, is, and as a supportive skill in Arena is amazing. And then, of course, Distant Counter D for scoring. The melee nuke is exactly what we just looked at. You notice here I've actually swapped out Celica instead of Erica, and that's a thing you would have to weigh. If you have Celica there, you're going to get better range, but you are going to get worse combat, just flat out. And I think you're going to want to pull out as much combat as possible out of this, but it is something to look at if you'd like. And then Omni Tank, the fortifications, attack speed, spike wall, and barricade is just exactly the same. Let's look at what the differences are with that, though. And we've got right off the bat, you have a significantly less amount of flat DR, and you drop all the way to 17. That's almost 10 lower than male Corrin was. For true damage, you had 40 for male Corrin, and for this one, you drop down to 22. You do get the same amount of boosted damage because Dragon Flame is just good, but that really drives home why this unit is not doing as well. When you look at the Omni Tank results, they aren't bad. This is a good combination to have. The thing that really stands out is how much lower the HP is on these than you had with male Corrin, except for Camilla. You get 10 more HP on this, but I would still rather have male Corrin. I think 2 hits of another unit are just going to obliterate this one, and you're not going to do as well. But the point still stands. This is a unit that is usable. You'd have to have some sort of breath of life support behind them, and I think you could absolutely make them work. As far as the skills, if you're prioritizing things, we talked about it, but really, like for the Omni Tank build, attack speed, spiked wall, and barricade are the 2. Well, that and Dragon Flame. You're really going to need those 3. Dragon Flame is incredibly good. If you have those 3, I think you can move forward. Fortifications, they're just other ways to get DC, and because of the weakness to Deadly Miasma and Camilla, it's not something I'm just in love with, but it is, from a simulation standpoint, is the best way to go. As far as the arena nuke, Slice with Sparrow is excellent, and you're going to want some kind of movement, so Endless Tempest is good there. You know that if you're planning on the Celica Ring, then the Tempest skills aren't as necessary. I do really like to edge scales, though, on that kind of unit. Past that, we have some additions. Bonus Doubler 4 is not bad, but what I'll say is that really hinges on you being near other units, and both of these Corrins hate being near other units. And the B skills, High Dragon Wall, if you want to score, is absolutely necessary. In the C skill, we talked about Pulse on Blades, which is a lot of fun. Really, any of the Pulse skills are pretty good. I'm planning on an episode that just starts to explain some of the... I get so many questions on which Pulse should I have, and there are some nuances there, so I'm planning on looking on that. But Breath of Life is another one, and of course Even Res Wave D, because Scowl is good. If you're asking me what I would pick for this unit, I mean, it's still the Omni Tank build. I think this is a lot of fun. I think this is the way this unit is designed, and if you're going to be using this unit, I think you will be happier with this.
No peeking!
Last, and to be just completely honest least, is Hot Springs Hinoka. The problem you've got here is, what are you going to give this unit? There's no preference weapon, and I mean, look at how old those inheritables are. Attack speed Bond 3 was never good. That was never, ever a good skill. And to put that on a dagger flyer, I mean, you want this unit to be next to other units? No. But anyway, if you're a Hinoka fan, there's still ways you can do this. We actually talked about this when we had Claude, and Johanna Dagger is kind of fun. So I keep in mind what you will need is some sort of miracle support, and there's even an argument to be made that you want miracle instead of lethality, which I don't have that up here because you're not going to pull that off of holoforms. You're just not. You're gonna grab lethality. But if you have this unit in the wild, if you can get Miracle charged up, you can actually hit back really, really hard. Especially, I mean, with that defense and res, it's just so thin as it is. Past that, Slice with Sparrow, Speed Taker, Deadly Miasma, and Blade Sessions, it's kind of maximizing how hard this unit's going to hit, and it's not going to take out BK or really any of the top 2 tiers of saviors. But if you want to have fun with this unit, I think this is a really fun way to do some PvE content. The support build is kind of an interesting name for this, but you can actually see this on air right now. And the way this works is this unit is able to disarm traps and kind of clear things out of the way in Aether Raids. And by doing so, actually makes positioning a lot easier. Lookout Force helps a ton. You can go in and do some really neat swapping post action. And so that's something to look out for. As far as the skills you really want to focus in on, I like Slice with Sparrow best. Flared Sparrow is still something that is usable for the way this unit is going to go. This unit is not going to be a first line of attack unit, and because of that is less likely to have to worry about stuff like Breath of Life. I kind of love attack speed mastery though, and if you're not looking to absolutely demolish things, that's probably would be my preference. For the B skills, it's a toss-up. Speed Taker is really fun on this unit. Potent Disarm is probably more practical though, and so it just depends on what you want to do there. I would go Lookout Force here, but keep in mind that Pulse Smog is there and it's something that's kind of fun. So just keep that in mind and be on the lookout for any of these. If you're asking me what I would grab, it'd be this nuke build. I think this is a lot of fun. Is this particularly useful in the meta? No, but sometimes holoform stuff is just fun. There's a lot of true damage you can get out of this unit, and especially when you do Miracle instead of Lethality, and Johanna Dagger just does fun things. So be on the lookout for this. I think this is the way to go. If you're a Hinoka fan, I think this is a way you can salvage this unit. Okay, so we need to talk. You can see here, I had note confirmed for this upcoming Heroes Holoforms, and things happened. Mainly the remix banners happened. What exactly happened was that in the codes we could find that there wasn't a battle for Note, and every other unit had a battle. So the thought was that unit was absolutely going to be there, and honestly Note would have been great. Note is still a very usable unit, and with some upgrades can do a lot of good for you. As of now, I have no idea because she's on the remix banner, and generally they don't put the unit in the holoforms and on a remix banner. I guess they could, but that would be something utterly new. Now in August we have Medius, and Medius is definitely something that you could use on defense, and if you're a Medius fan, I think that's when it's good. I have Celica confirmed for September. I am less sure about Celica than I am about Medius, so keep that in mind, but that is something to look out for, and if you're a Celica fan, I think you'll be able to upgrade her at that time. If you're looking for more information on the last set of refines, I've got a whole video on that. Go check that out. Members, you are amazing. Thank you for all you do. Take care and schedule an appointment with your FEHologist real soon.